Here's how I replaced the power steering pump in my square body Suburban. If you're looking for a recommendation, I preferred to purchase a new power steering pump instead of a remanufactured one because the price difference is not that big. If you have one, start by loosening the AC compressor to release tension from the belt and remove it from the pulleys. Remove the two power steering lines and the reservoir hose if you have one. Some Chevys have a reservoir tank built straight onto the pump housing. If any of the hoses tear or feel old and hard, it's time to replace them. And if they're any more than 10 years old, they should be replaced. Remove the two bolts from the front of the pump and one nut from behind it. I apologize for the poor camera angle here. Heat the pump pulley with a torch and use a power steering pulley puller to slowly remove the pulley from the pump. Oil the threads of the puller before using the tool. Take your time and use more heat if the pulley feels stuck, otherwise you risk damaging the pulley. Once it's off, now is a good time to clean rust and grime off the pulley. Remove the mounting bracket from the pump. Unscrew the reservoir housing bolt, the high pressure outlet, and the stud from the pump. These might be tough to remove, so do your best to brace the pump in a way that you can break these bolts free without denting or damaging the pump housing. We will be reusing this housing on the new pump, so it's important that it remains nice and round to ensure proper fitment onto the new pump. Lightly tap the housing off the old pump and give it a good clean. You want all oil and loose debris clean from the housing. You'll need to reverse any taper from the bolt holes on the housing that were caused by over-torqued bolts. To do this, find a couple metal cylinders or use the corner of a table and hammer these holes flat again. Many different vehicle-specific housings were made to fit this pump, so the pump may come with more O-rings than you need. Oil your pump's O-ring seal and remove the studs and high-pressure outlet. Ensure O-rings for the bolts and outlet are properly seated. You can reuse the stud and reservoir housing bolts and use the new high-pressure outlet. Screw them in. Be sure to look up torque specs for all components as you tighten things back down. If your new pump is anything like mine, it may require extra encouragement to fully seat the housing onto the pump. Use the power steering pump pulley puller to press the pulley back onto the pump. That's a tongue twister. Do not hammer the pulley back on. After you like and subscribe, remember to replace the pump mounting bracket before reinstalling the pulley. I caught my mistake before it was too late and was able to wiggle the bracket bolts back on. You'll know the pulley is fully installed and seated when the top of the pulley is flush with the end of the pump shaft. Sometimes the pump bracket on the truck can seem too tight to place the pump back in for mounting. If this happens to you, create a spreader using a bolt with a couple washers and nuts. I'll demonstrate with an example so you can see it better. Grab a bolt that is longer than the span between the two mounting holes on the bracket. Slide the first washer on and thread the two nuts on together and slide the second washer on. Tighten the bolt to one side of the bracket using a nut, ensuring the thread side of the bolt sticks out through the other mounting hole on the bracket. Then spin the other nut lefty-loosey to spread the bracket apart. The bracket will spring back a bit when you remove your spreader bolt, so you may need to spread it farther than you think. After you like and subscribe, install the pump, hoses, and belts in the reverse of how it was removed, then fill and bleed the power steering fluid. Do this with the engine off, jack your truck up till your front wheels leave the ground, fill the reservoir full, and turn the wheels back and forth a few times. Check the reservoir again and fill if needed. Then turn the wheels left and right completely at least 20 times to remove all air bubbles from the power steering system. Make sure it's full again, double check the torque on all bolts, then you're ready to drive. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions at all. Thank you all so much for watching. See you on the next one.